Yeah, see guys, see if initially for continuous integration and continuous delivery is purely will help us from developers, QA people, and as well as build engineers. Okay, so coming to the configuration management, so it is help us from for the operation side. So operations team like so provisioning of the servers, okay, configuring of the resources, and as well as so admin. So these kind of configuration is simple. So suppose we are having three servers guys, okay, let us assume. So we are having three servers: server 1, server 2, and we have the server 3. We have the server 3. So now my requirement is I want to install couple of toolkits. I want to install couple of toolkits. Let's say the Java 1.8, okay, Java 1.8, and let us see the .NET 2.x, and I need to install the Tomcat 8.x, Maven 2.x, Python 3.x, okay, and Oracle. Yeah, Oracle 11, 11, something 11G. Okay, so I need to install all these softwares guys, okay, all these softwares into our environment. So how we can do that? Can anyone tell me? So you got my point. So we are having the empty server. So our requirement is we have to make sure to install all our softwares. So how we can do? How we can do that?
అంజలి అక్కడ వెనకల హెడ్సెట్ ఉంది
So anyone tell me when normally, so just so you know, I am not asking you guys technically, okay, so you can just explain the layman example. So we didn't start a technical actual technical discussions. Just tell me.
You can install them manually.
Okay, fine. So if you're installing them manually, okay, so for one server how much time it will take?
1 to 2 hours or 3 hours.
Yeah, let us assume 2 hours. Okay, let us assume 2 hours. Fine. Okay, so for 3 servers 3 hours. Okay, so let us assume in our account we are having 100 servers. So how much time it will take, Anand?
Like
100 into 3, 300 hours,
yes,
right?
300 hours.
300
Yes.
hours. Okay, you are saying you are doing manually. Okay, so whenever we are doing manually, so once your activity is completed, after we deploying our application, so we are getting an issue. The couple of servers are not responding properly. If a
Yes.
couple of servers are not responding properly, so again you need to log into each and every server manually, and we have to find out the root cause, right?
Yes.
So again it is time consuming process or not?
Yes.
So overall how much time we need to spend for all the servers? So it will take more than around 500 hours, right?
Yes.
So each client will accept so this much
No.
of time only for installation of softwares?
No, sir.
Not accepted, right? And there is a one more important point here. There is a one more important point here. See, the earlier days guys, earlier days, if you see 6 years back or 7 years back, the people are habituated to uh, execute these things through the shell script as well. So even if you are executing the shell script, so we can just execute the shell script and we can run the cron job. So maybe it is also taking the same time, so or less than or equal to 30 minutes. So if you say that when we are doing the manually, it will take 20, it will take 1.5 hours. So maybe the shell script it reduced to 1 hour.
1
But
hour.
again it is a problematic, correct?
Yes.
Again it is a problematic. So if you see here, so earlier days if you see for each and every server, so we are having the admins are required. For every server, VAS server, we are admin is recruited, and application server, they recruit the persons, and Dynamics environment also they are recruiting the persons, right?
Yes.
So for each and every configuration, the people are recruiting, and we are having the more number of teams in the operations team. See,
Yes.
that is two ways. One is for time consuming process, and second one is the cost efficient, right?
Yes, sir.
So we need to spend so much cost here. So how we can able to reduce it? So this is the here the DevOps engineer will come into the picture. The DevOps engineer will come into the picture to minimize all the difficulties and to reduce the time. So how we can do that? So here we can go for the orchestration tools. So orchestration tool is nothing but, so please make sure from now onwards, if anywhere you can see the orchestration. So all orchestration tools will work under, so master slave communication. Master slave communication. So someone is saying the master slave, or someone is saying the marker and marker and worker nodes. Okay, so that is also fine. So within the master and slave, so master is nothing but a central mission. Master is nothing but a central mission where we need to configure all our configurations. Master is nothing but central mission where we need to configure all our servers. So this is very, very important. And slaves are nothing but actual production servers, or actual servers where we need to configure our configurations. So this is very, very important. So this is very, very important. Clear, everyone?
Yes.
As of now, fine. So now what we need to do? So let's take one master server here. Let's take one master server here. Yes. So within the master server, so we can establish the communication, our worker nodes to the master server. So how we can able to establish the communication? There are two ways. Before going to that, so in the configuration management tool, so there are two tools are very, very important, guys. So one is for Ansible, and another one is for Puppet. So maybe 5 years back, most of the organizations are using the Puppet. Okay, so now the people are migrating to the Ansible. So we will see the difference in between the Puppet and Ansible tool as well. Okay, difference in between the Puppet and Ansible tool as well.
And Chef is also a
Exactly. I'm about to tell that one also. Okay, Chef is also available. Okay, so this Chef is available, old tools, right? So what is the for Chef is see, the maintenance is very high, guys. So whenever if you are using the Chef, whenever if you are using the test, the maintenance is very high. Okay, the maintenance is very high. So this is very, very important. So, and one more important, directly we can discuss one small important point. So Chef and Puppet are only supporting less than 40 modules only. So whenever if you go for the Ansible, so it will support to around 3000 modules. You got my point?
Okay.
So that's why the people are habituated to working on the Ansible. And one more important, the Ansible will help us on the cloud support. Cloud, whatever the clouds we have in the world, like Azure, AWS, GCP, for all these clouds will help us in the Ansible tool. So they are having their pre-owned modules, and we can, by using those modules, we can work on it. So this is very, very important, guys. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
So what I am suggesting you guys, we will discuss Ansible in-depth knowledge, okay, in-depth on Ansible, and we because anyway, so I have stopped to discussing on the Puppet because no one is not required. So, but I will give my recordings to the Puppet, okay. So you guys go through it, and whenever if you have any doubts, you can just let me know. So we will discuss 1 or 2 hours Puppet as well if you have any doubts. Clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, but you guys please concentrate on the Ansible, and you need to understand the difference in between the Ansible and the existing tools as well. So this is also very, very important. So coming to here, yeah. So how we can able to establish the communication in between them? How we can able to establish the communication in between them? So this is very, very exactly. So no, Lata, this is a live session only, Lata.
Okay, thank you, sir.
This is live session. Fine. Okay. No worries. Lata, actually, we're discussing about the configuration management. You might be you lost the yesterday session, right, Lata?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Yesterday session we discussed only for continuous delivery only. So no
Okay.
need to worry. I just go through the recording. So I will help you on it. Okay.
Okay.
If you have any doubts, I will help you on it. Yesterday, we discussed about the continuous integration and continuous delivery use case and how we can able to establish the communication in between them. So today we discussed about the configuration management. Today we discussed about the configuration management. So this is very, very important. So here, like we discussed Ansible and Puppet. So how we can able to establish the communication, guys? So Ansible is using as a SSH communication. SSH is nothing but serverless, man. Serverless authentication. Okay. Serverless authentication. We can use serverless authentication. So this is very, very important. We can use serverless authentication. So this is very, very important. And one more important. And what about the Puppet? So Puppet will work. So we need to install physically. We need to install physically agents in the worker nodes, guys. So whenever we are installing the agents in the worker nodes, so these agents will be responsible to keep on watching the master server, and whatever the new configurations were updated, so automatically it will get it. Automatically it will get it. And coming to the SSH level, the master itself will log into these servers and install all configurations at a time. Install all configuration at a time. So this is very, very important. Now, how we can able to execute this configuration in the master? So here there is a concept is called as IOC. IOC stands for infrastructure of a code. Infrastructure of a code. So what is the code here? What are the languages here? So in the Ansible we are using for the YAML, guys. YAML. So these YAML is nothing but markup language, like okay. And these are the platform independent, irrespective of the platforms, it should be communicated and it should be work. So this is very, very important. And coming to the Ansible, coming to the Puppet, so they are using the DSL language, Puppet DSL. Puppet DSL. So these are the scripting languages. Okay, Puppet DSL. So YAML language is very, very important. So here we can just writing a configuration like this. So Java. Same YAML is also like very, very simple, guys. Okay, how it looks like YAML is just key comma values. Just key comma value. It looks like Java 1.8 .NET. So how we can able to read manually? The same way we can mention like this. And Tomcat 8.x Maven X. Okay, Python 3.x Oracle. Okay, see, once we configured all the configuration, so whenever we are executing the configuration in the master, automatically the master server will push. So how we can say that in Ansible it is working as a push based mechanism. In the Puppet it is working as a pull based mechanism. Why I can call it as a pull based mechanism? Because in the Puppet agents were installed in your worker node, so automatically it will pull the configuration. But coming to the Ansible, it will push the configuration. So within fraction of seconds, okay, within fraction, it will push all the configuration to these servers. So now how much time it will take? So less than 15 minutes. So all the configurations will be updated in the server. Got it, Anand? Now clear. So whatever the server you required, all the servers we can make it as a cluster, and these cluster we can connect it with our master node. So automatically, so whenever we are executing new configurations, it will be sending to the worker nodes. So now how much time it will take? Within 15 minutes. So your all configurations will be updated in the 1000 servers. Okay, you are having one more. Let us suppose if you get any issue, you no need to worry about it, because we are not doing manually, right? We are doing to the script level. Okay, we are doing from manual configuration. So this configuration file we need to keep in the GitHub repositories. So maybe this configuration file. So we configuration file. This is the version 2.0 configuration file. So anyway, it can contain version 1.0 configuration file will also be available, right? Or version v1.19 version is already available. So this is a stable version. This might be stable version. So we can revert it back. We can revert it back easily. So first we need to revert it back to the old versions and we can troubleshoot that issue. So without any downtime, so we can easily working on it. Clear everyone? So understanding about the configuration management.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is very, very important. So in interviews point of view, they are asking the question. So what is the tool you are using in a configuration management? You can simply say that I am working on the Ansible. Okay, fine. So do you have any other tool? You know that. Okay, you can simply say that, okay, Puppet, I am aware of the Puppet. I am knowledge on the Puppet. You can simply say knowledge on the Puppet. So they're directly mentioning what is the difference in between the Puppet and Ansible, or they can simply say what is the difference in between the old configuration management tools and Ansible. See, whenever Ansible, so the first important point, Ansible using the SSH protocol. So when we communicate with the worker nodes, and Puppet is using agents, agent architecture. Okay, so we need to install the agents physically, so then only it will be communicated. And third important point, so Puppet can support only up to 40 modules only. But if we come to the Ansible, it can support 3000 modules. 3000 modules. So this is very, very important. So Ansible using the push-based mechanism. Ansible using the push-based mechanism, and the Puppet is using the pull-based mechanism. So just we can explain these 3 to 4 points. Okay. So this is very, very important. So any doubts for configuration management, guys?
No doubt.
Fine. Now you clear that issues, right? So whatever the problems they faced, right? So you just make it as a cluster. So within fraction of seconds, your work is completed. So here you no need to require the admin. You no need to require for Linux administrator. You no need to require for server administrator. So just we have one DevOps engineer is enough. So that DevOps engineer will take a help of the configuration management tools like Ansible or Puppet, and they can complete their work. So usually Puppet is using most of the organizations, the Puppet is using under on-premises servers. On-premises servers are nothing but it is not a cloud. Okay, all VAS and VAS servers, they are using the Puppet, and mostly in the cloud environments like EC2s, virtual machines, the cloud environments we will go for the Ansible. So this is very, very important. So because see guys, earlier if you see the statistics of the last 5 years, maybe 30% or 35% of the companies are migrating their application from on-premises application to the cloud. But nowadays, approximately 70 to 75% of the organization, 70 to 75% of the organization, they were already migrated into the cloud. So no one is using the on-premises servers. So on-premises servers are nothing but, so those servers should be managed by your organization. So if you have any issues or if you have any outages, so it should be taken care by your organization. But coming to the virtual servers, you no need to worry about it. So that will be taken care by your cloud vendor. So the cloud vendor will provide so 99% of availability. So 99% of durability. So that's why the most of the people are moving to the cloud environments. Any doubts?
No, sir.
Right. So next, the concept is continuous monitoring. So what is the meaning of continuous monitoring? So why we need to monitor our application? Can anyone tell me?
To check if everything is working fine every time.
Exactly. So suppose
And more on checking for traffic also. So
exact. See, usually what they can, so in the organization level, so whenever we got an issue, then only we are responding, right? Whenever we are getting an issue, then only we are responding.
Yes, sir.
Correct. But now, so whenever we are just restricting the issues, okay? So before, whenever we are getting issue, proactively, we can monitor our infrastructure. Proactively, we can monitor our infrastructure, and we have to make sure your application should be available 24/7. You have to make sure your application should be available 24/7. So this is very, very important. Clear, everyone? Okay,
Yes, sir.
your application will be 24/7. So for this, we have to monitor your infrastructure. See, if you take a typical application, so it might be contain lot of configurations, guys, like web servers, application servers. 1 minute. Yeah, typical server application can contains lot of components, guys, like application server, web server, load balancers, firewalls, database, cache server. So these on components are available in your application. So how we can able to monitor them? So if you want to monitor them manually, it is recommended for manual process. It is recommended to manually. Suppose we are having the 10 applications. So we have having the 10 application. If you want to monitor manually for all the application, you need to log into each and every server, and we need to verify whether we can able to log in or not. Right? So how much time it will take? Again, it will take so much time, right?
Yes, sir.
And even it is not possible. It is not possible to log into the particular resources, and it's verifying each and everything. So for this, so we will go for the continuous monitoring tools. So for continuous monitoring tools, what I am suggesting, so for organization by organization, it is totally different. Like Srilata, you already discussed, right? So regarding the first class, so in the some organizations, so they are using the Kibana. Some organization they are using the Splunk for getting the
Yeah.
monitor to creating the dashboards, everything. Some organization they are using the CloudWatch. Some organization they are using the Nagios. Some organization they are using the Sitescope. So you no need to worry about it. The continuous monitoring tools. So no one. So if you take the if you take the 10 interviews, okay, sorry, if you go for 10 interviews, so even one single interview also they will not ask the questions on the continuous monitoring, because they also know that. Okay, so thus continuous monitoring tools are different from the different organizations. So but you have to understand the process. So we have to understand the process, so how we can able to troubleshoot. So if you see anyway, the troubleshoot is nothing but, so where is the problem, so what was the problem, so how we can able to troubleshoot it. So this is very, very important. So as a DevOps engineer, so we are the responsible. So you need, suppose, let us suppose your development team is reporting like this. Hey Harun, my application is not responding. When I'm trying to access to browser, my application is not working. So can you please help me on it? So they are sending like this. So during that time, what we need to do, right?
We need to check the that traffic and everything.
Let me explain. Let me explain. See how we know the traffic. See, your application is not working, right? Your application is not able to access. If your application is not able to access, how we can say the traffic? If your application is available, then only we can say the traffic is available, right? So in that scenario, so you need to do some kind of tools. You need to use some kind of monitoring tools, and we need to go through the particular application, and we need to verify, is there any server is having an issue? Is there any issues are happening? So all these kind of things we need to keep in mind. And how we can able to troubleshoot way. So let me explain the way of troubleshooting. So how we can do, if anybody reporting to you guys, so there is some application is not working. Okay, application is not working. So in that scenario, so what we need to do, so we have to make sure. So first, so in the, there are two layers are available in the organization level. One is for web layer and application layer. In the web layer, okay, in the web layer, so it is not communicate, it is only for front end application. Okay, in the back end, this will be communicate with the database, whether the web layer is having an issue or application layer is having an issue. If it is issue with only for application layer, you need to troubleshoot only for application. Clear, everyone? Arun? So we are having the two types of the networks in the, if you take any data center or virtual data center or on-premises data center, we are having two types of this. 1 minute, guys, let me come. Okay, fine. Okay, sorry guys. So you clear now? So in organization level, we are having the two types of the layers are available, guys. So one is for web layer and another one is for the application layer. So in the web layer, you need to concentrate about the web servers and load balancing, auto scalability configuration. In the application layer, we need to configure, we need to see the application level. So we should not involve in the application level. So that application level will be taken care by developers. Okay, na? So the application level will be taken care by developer. Application level is nothing but if any issue with the application itself, if any issue with the application issue, maybe the code issue, okay, maybe the code issue or connectivity issues, that will be taken care by development team. So how we know that? So if we take any help of any monitoring tools, so we will get some idea, we will get a logs. So you need to trigger the logs during the time and we can troubleshoot the problem. Clear everyone? So these continuous monitoring tools will help us. So how we can do that? See, let us suppose this is a typical application. Let us suppose, so this is your typical application. Okay, so within the typical application, so this is your web servers, and this is your application server, and this is your database. Okay, so this is our cache servers. This is for other servers. Okay, na? So here these are the servers. What we need to do in this monitor, in these tools, we can take any of the tool and we need to create a monitors, guys. We need to create a monitors for each and every resources. If the monitor is a green color, so we need to link up with our tool with the test endpoint URLs. So that is called as the health check URLs. Health check URLs. So these health check URLs will be taken care, developers will work on it. So you no need to worry about it. They will provide the health check URLs. We need to integrate the health check URLs to the tool. So whenever the application is working fine, so we can say that application is green color. If the application is having an issue, the monitor is red color. If the application is about to having an issue, it is yellow color. Okay, so just we need to concentrate on these three colors. Okay, if it is getting red color, automatically we can take that particular time frame and we will get the application logs. So within these logs, if we have any issues, then immediately we can report to the development team. So this is how we can able troubleshooting of the
will these
yes, tell me.
will these monitoring tools can be used only for the cloud environment, or can we use it?
No,
for
it is no,
mainframe
it is for normal environment also. So if you take the site scope, okay, if you take the site scope, see, AppDynamics is APM tools, application performance monitoring. Okay, na? So APM
Okay.
tools, so that will capture all our error logs, and error logs as well as
Memory
slow
Yeah,
transaction.
can we
Exactly.
use
So
this? Can we use this Splunk or AppDynamics to the mainframe performance monitoring?
yeah, exactly, we can use it. AppDynamics is what we can do. So AppDynamics will get whatever the logs we are populated in the server level, so everything should be exported. Okay, just they need to configure the AppDynamic agents. Let us say we have the web server, Lata. So within the web server, I need to get a logs to the, I need to export the logs to the AppDynamics. Just we need to install the agent in the web server, so automatically we need to create a dashboards in the AppDynamics, so we can just monitor it. Okay, na?
Okay, sir. I'm aware of the process in the cloud environment. We need to deploy the agents and we need to get the controller access to the controller, and the AppDynamics agents will pass on the information to the controller. Controller will print the reports. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
When
That is
we
correct.
say, yeah, when we come to mainframe, so how it happens? So where we are going to install the agents? If it is a cloud environment, we are going to install in
Yeah, we
the
have,
web
yeah, we
server.
hit it. Anyway, we have the EC2 servers, right? So within the EC2 servers, we will take the Nginx. We need to just
Yeah,
install the
yeah,
Nginx. Nginx is the
yeah.
Nginx controller. So this
So,
Nginx web server, yes.
so for mainframes, basically mainframes won't have any EC2 instance or anything, like. So for mainframes case, where we install these agents?
Mainframe, you are saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, even the mainframe also that should be reside in the particular servers only, right? Yes or no? You can log into that particular box and we can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, anyway,
Okay.
we have the boxes, right? So virtual
Yeah.
boxes are available. Virtual boxes, even even if it is not a virtual boxes, so how they are maintaining the servers? So they will create a number of boxes. So just you need to choose that particular box and we can install it.
So
See,
basically, wherever mainframe system, where in whatever the
exactly.
server mainframe is running, we need to install those agents there. If it
Exactly,
comes to the
exactly. Let
cloud
me explain.
instance, it
Let me
will come.
explain as yet, Nata. And one more important. See how we can able to access. Suppose somewhere your maintain in configuration is available. Okay. So you need to access the mainframe configurations to your local machine. So how we can able to access through the IP address only, right?
Correct.
Yeah, the IP address is nothing but somewhere it is hosted. So you need to figure out where the hosted server. So log into the particular boxes and we need to execute the configuration. That's it. So mostly it should be the Linux boxes only, 100%.
Okay.
Fine.
So in that Linux box, we need to install these agents then.
Exactly, agents. Exactly. You need to install the agents. If you want to see the documentation, the App Dynamics, you can clearly mentioning. So how to install the agent? Just we need to install the agent, and we need to make sure the agent should be up and running. So installation of the agents is not a problem. Okay, so we need to make sure the agent should be up and running. So then only it will fetch the data. Got it?
Okay. So it
Bye.
can fetch the data from mainframes too.
Exactly, it will fetch the data from the mainframes too as well. So this is very, very important. Okay, guys. So what we are going to do, so tomorrow onwards, we are going to start the actual practical sessions from Git. We are going to start with the Git. Okay, na? So we are going to start with the Git, and we are going to continue every day for 1 hour session, guys. Okay, every day for all our theoretical sessions are completed. So this is more than enough for initial prerequisites for the DevOps. So the terminologies and how they, what are the existing process and what are the process we are going to discuss. So this is very, very important. So for these three classes, then if you go to any interviews, there might be asking 1 or 2 interview questions as well. So what is the difference in between the continuous integration and continuous delivery? So what are the tools you are using, and what are the issues you are facing when we are migrating our applications to on-premises to the cloud, or any issues you are facing when we are configuring the configurations from, see, anyway we are having the on-premises servers, right? So if you want to shift them into the cloud environment, so how we are executing those, how we are installing the softwares. So these kind of things they are asking in our interviews. Okay, na? So tomorrow we are going to start with the Git, and we will continue the class for 1 hour. Fine, guys. Any other doubt?
We had a class yesterday also.
No, yesterday actually there is a miscommunication happened. So couple of people they said there is no class. I forgot that one, so I have taken the class. Okay, no?
Oh.
No, that's why we discussed only for 30 minutes only yesterday. So we will provide the recordings to you. Just go through it. And if you have any doubts, I will discuss on tomorrow.
Okay. Who can provide me the recorded sessions
You can check with
yesterday?
Venkat sir. Venkat sir.
Okay.
Okay, na?
Okay.
Fine, fine.
Sir, once can you view Venkat sir's
So-
number?
Yeah. Sure.
Even sir, one more doubt. Even
Yeah.
we can use Splunk for the mainframes.
Yeah, I'm not sure about it, Lata. For the Splunk, I will check and let you know. Okay, na?
Okay, but for App Dynamics, you're sure about it, right?
Yeah. App Dynamics, we can do that. App Dynamics, we can do that. Anyway, see, if anyway the server is available, so anyway the hosted into the any Linux boxes, for all the Linux boxes, we can communicate with the App Dynamics through the agents.
Okay, if the server is residing in the Linux box, we can.
Exactly. We can just install the agents and we can communicate with the App Dynamics.
So basically, all the mainframes were residing in Linux only, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can just check with your superior or anyone in your team. So they will provide. So anyway, you can log into the putty. If you get an IP address, if you have the access for that, just log into the putty. So you can get it.
Okay.
Okay, na?
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Bye. So any other doubts? Sai, Anand, Arun, Chandra,
Sir.
Krishna?
No, sir, you are started with the, DevOps tools or AWS EC2 or VPC.
No, we will include, yeah, well, we are going to complete completely for the web session, and for AWS session, we will take 5 hour session. Okay. So I will explain high level on all the services. So you can just keep those services in your resume. That is enough.
Yeah.
So we are not